stake here, okay? You need to understand that you don't merely want a ride. You want liberty. You want independence. You want control over your transportation, the freedom to go where you want, when you want to go. Car companies used to understand that. When I was a kid, Chevy had the commercial. Many of you might remember this. You can look it up on YouTube. You had Dinah Shore singing "See the USA" in a Chevrolet, okay? They were selling you independence. They were selling you freedom. They're saying, look, you can get in this thing. You can go anywhere in the country you want, whenever you want, in the style that you want to dedicate your money to, okay? But now they're telling you, no, that's not cool. You want the government to control your transportation and track everything you do. And you want a few multinational corporations to own that car. There you go. That's my old vacation car. We used to get the, did you see that there? We used to get the cooler, put it in the back, and it was vacation time. That was the signal, the nostalgia that it was vacation time. Those days are maybe gone.
Welcome to the fourth hour of Overdrive of the Alex Jones Show. I'm your host, Rob Dew. I am the news director here at for the InfoWars Nightly News, and also editor, camera guy. Sometimes I walk around with an iPhone and ask Bernie supporters why they feel that way that they do, and those are always interesting. In fact, we have our two of our reporters out in the field right now, Jakari Jackson and Michael Zimmerman. They're in Anaheim getting ready for another Trump event, which is probably kicking off right about now. I think it kicked off at 12 noon today. I guess, and Anaheim's not too far from where myself and Josh Owens were, Costa Mesa, Southern California. It's about an hour difference, and you saw what happened there with the people spinning out and spray painting and beating up people with Trump shirts on. So we can probably expect the same type of behavior from those individuals, and we're going to be playing some of their clips. I can't play a lot of them because we'll show you a video and I'll narrate over top of it. But and so if you're watching at Infowars.com/show, you'll actually see the video of how these people act and how they act around other people's children. The innate cursing. You have to go watch these videos for yourself. You can go to the Alex Jones channel on YouTube. It's called The Alex Jones Channel. But before we get to those, I want to play, this is from the article, MSNBC panel calls out Trump for pushing the crazy vortex of Alex Jones, Matt Drudge conspiracy theories. And this is Chris Hayes and his cohorts getting mad because, Trump is putting out advertisements about Vince Foster's death, bringing up Bill Clinton's rape allegations. He didn't even get to the part, here's that Bill Clinton allegedly flew on pedophile Jeffrey Epstein's sex jet with traffic girls 26 times. I haven't even got to that yet. And that's who we might put in the White House? Are you kidding me? To quote Carl the Cuck. Anyway, let's go to that clip right now. Speaking of cucks, let's see what Chris Hayes has to say about people talking about known liars.
He has a habit, Trump, of anything that's raised to him. Anything.
Any conspiracy theory.
It doesn't matter.
I like to picture his email inbox as being like all subject line forward, colon, all caps, Benghazi sex scandal or something. Like any conspiracy theory, no matter how ridiculous it is.
And he likes to get it from the audience too, right? So it's a crowdsourced campaign, and he's just throwing this stuff back out there. And so far with the Republican primary, it's worked. I mean, I just think that bringing Vince Foster into the context of the general election is ridiculous, and it's going to backfire.
This is a guy, I'm sorry, and this is a guy who, he raised the specter that Ted Cruz's father had a hand in the Kennedy assassination. So, I mean, it's
on election day in Indiana, which he later was like, I don't know, it's just out there.
Right. There are no holds barred for Donald Trump, and I absolutely agree. There's no downside for him with this electorate. This works, and I expect he's going to continue to do it.
This electorate, though, is the key question.
Right.
I mean, to me, this seems, and Michael, I think you've been a really astute observer of how this played out in the primary, but to me, there are lots of ways of going after Hillary Clinton that may or may not be effective. Maybe Vince Foster maybe the ex-president and his wife, the current presidential nominee, had a dude murdered. First of all, that's not a a normal, I just want to be clear, this is not a normal campaign like, oh, they're really getting in the mud and one's calling the other a possible murderer. No, like this is not what normally happens. It also just doesn't seem...
never.
It doesn't seem particularly politically expedient to me. Why has we spent the first 8 days, and maybe there's no explanation, right into the 90s stuff? Like, that just seems like such a bizarre place to go.
I mean, I can't speak to his mind. I mean, literally, he could have seen one of those 90s era, like the most repugnant 90s era bumper sticker, which was, if Vince Foster had a gun, he'd still be alive.
Remember that one?
You know, that could have been the reason.
Like anything that flitted across.
But the thing is that Trump, it seems that the Republican electorate, at least so far, had such a low bar for him to clear as far as credibility. And maybe that is the public's bar, that in a sense, people, the idea that he would say crazy things is sort of just built in.
I don't want to diminish the people that are out there that feel a certain amount of angst and anxiety about the economy. And to me, anything that they're hearing that just pokes jabs at their view of the establishment, I think is what's carrying the day. And any sort of conspiracy theory, anything from the 80s, the 90s, or even beyond, I think is just continuously stoking that fear.
But this also just feels very narrowcast to me. I mean, this really is like, I really think, it's been amazing to watch this. I mean, you got Alex Jones, who I've been watching a lot recently. He's like the sort of main conspiracy theorist, is sort of probably the most popular in American life right now. You know, Roger Stone goes on that show every day. There's this crazy vortex of all that stuff back from the 90s, and Dan Burton firing a gun, you know, into a pumpkin or whatever the hell it was. All of that stuff, which has been simmering there forever and Drudge has stoked, is now sort of exploding through the channel of Trump. And part of the challenge, Michael, it strikes me is, and you just, Basil, referenced it, right? Like, the press covers what candidates say.
Right.
It's almost like, you know, on the floor of the House or the floor of the Senate, you can say whatever you want, right? Like, there's total protection for libel and things like that, for slander. Like, here is Donald Trump. He can say whatever, and it's going to get covered because he's the candidate.
Wow. Yeah. So they're really running scared right now. They are pissed off that these things are being brought back up because they want to anoint Hillary and install her into the presidency. And they don't want you to have a say. And they're really pissed off that a lot of America is responding to Trump's message. Now, you have this vocal minority who wants socialism and wants to turn most of the Southwest into Mexico, running around bitching. I'm ventured to guess that a lot of these people aren't even American citizens. This next guy, he is, but we're going to play this video. This is somebody Jakari Jackson interviewed right after they shot tear gas into the rioters last night after they were done, you know, beating up people in wheelchairs and cussing out little children and breaking windows and hitting horses, mounted police horses. Anyway, here's a protester that's blaming all this behavior on Donald Trump, and Jakari actually calls him out on it. So here's that clip.
All right, so we're outside the Trump event. It just wrapped up. It wrapped up a while ago, but probably about 20 minutes ago, they shot the tear gas off. And we talked to this gentleman, and he wants to tell us his thoughts on it.
The only reason that they started shooting tear gas at us is because an old man was pushed by a police officer. I asked, let him pass. Let him walk away. He had a cane. No, he hits him in the face for no apparent reason. When Donald Trump showed up, look how heavy and hate he brought here. I stand for people, our armed services, our men and women in uniform. We're supposed to stand united, but he brings division. He brings hatred. We're supposed to stand united, aren't we? Aren't we all Americans? Our liberty is supposed to be upheld. Our Constitution is supposed to be held in the strongest upset. My bad.
I'm challenging you here for 1 second. I'm not a Donald Trump supporter at all, but I'm saying this to you. Donald Trump didn't set any trash can fires. Donald Trump didn't throw any rocks. All the other stuff you seen out here, he did not do that.
The reason that, fires started earlier. Yeah. But when that man was attacked by a police officer, that incited violence. Obviously, they brought it when they attacked that innocent man. Now, what is that supposed to be about? My bad. Excuse my language.
Yes, sir.
But, you know, look at we're supposed to protect foreign and domestic, but they're domestic here. They're bringing domestic terrorism to us. We're all Americans. We have the free to stand where we please. We're not sheep. We're not slaves. Oh, my bad.
Yes, sir.
And, you know, we're supposed to stand. Look at what they're trying to do. They're trying to force us on our knees. American was founded on revolution. We're founded on immigrants. George Washington, we should take example. Abraham Lincoln, Patton, they fought for this country, didn't they? Didn't they do any good? We must stand. We stand united.
All right, thank you so much. That's one of the demonstrators that's left after the Trump event. As I was saying earlier, this is where across the street, you see the officers way back there. That's where people were going in, but they exited out of a different door. And this is what's left of the crowd. It's massively diminished. And we'll bring you the latest.
Oh, fire.
Oh, okay. I don't know about that. Tell me about that.
No, actual bullets flying. I don't know where the hell that was at, but...
I mean, do you know who pulled the trigger? Okay.
I believe it was a protester, but I don't know that. Probably the cops or a protester. This is what happens when Donald Trump comes to a Latin nation. But also, we're in New Mexico, so let's get this straight. We're not in Mexico. We're New Mexico. We're above Mexico.
All right, thank you, man. All right, more reports on the
So you got a lot of anger and a lot of rage from people, and rightly so. You know, our country is screwed up, but Donald Trump hasn't been in a leadership position. He's been a businessman building his own little, financial empire. He's not the one selling weapons to ISIS. He's not the one that's opened the borders up. He hasn't done any of that. So how can you blame him for this just because he's running for president? And these people are scared and they're afraid. They want to use excuses like, oh, he's not a politician. He has no right to be running for presidency. Like, first of all, the presidency is this great office. Look at the last few presidents we've had. We've had Obama. We've had George Bush, George W. Bush. We've had Bill Clinton, George H.W. Bush before that. Our track record isn't that good, people. We've put losers into the White House, total losers. And I say give Donald Trump a chance. He's not a politician. Let's see what he does. He said he's only going to run for 4 years anyway. So in 4 years, you could have your socialist utopia. Now, I want to just play a little bit of let's go to the professional brainwasher. I didn't get a chance to vet this clip all the way to see if I got all the cursing out, so we're just going to roll it, and I'm going to narrate over top of it. But this guy is a public school teacher, and he's wearing an F Trump shirt. Can you guys roll that clip over top of me while I'm talking so people can see? This guy here, he's a teacher. He's got an F Trump 2016 shirt on. KKK for Trump. And he's out there saying Hillary Clinton is going to be better for his children. This is a lady that lets Americans die. This is a lady that's probably involved in the murders of some of her cabinet. It's lunacy what these people want. They have no idea who the real enemy is. Well, stay tuned. We'll be back with more. It's Rob Dew in the 4th hour of Infowars.com, The Alex Jones Show. Coming up in the next segment, we're going to have author Ella Grace to talk about her book, America is Infected, which has to do with a condition her son developed and how she had to basically diagnose it herself and treated herself because she was not getting any help from doctors, which is typical of the medical model. But before we get to that, next month, early next month, is Bilderberg 2016. Last year, we went to Austria to the Giant Pyramid Hotel up in the Alps, and showed everyone out there how the police were acting like total tyrants, pulling people out of their cars, searching them. We were, specifically, the InfoWars crew was persona non grata. They had our photos up in their little booth, just ours with our car and everything, our passport photos. But here's from the Bilderberg website, and the 2016 Bilderberg is going to meet in Dresden, Germany. And Josh Owens and I are going to be there. We're going to go. We're going to meet Paul Watson. But here's what's going on. We're going a few days early, and we're going to, because Germany they took over 1 million refugees last year, and they have more coming this year. They're expecting more than that this year. We're going to fly actually into Munich because Munich is a hotbed for these migrant centers and also where they're taking over train stations and rioting. You've probably seen the clips on YouTube. I'm going to ask for everybody's help out there. If you know where a migrant center is, or if you know where hotspots are for rioting or anything, please get in touch with me via my email, robd@infowars.com, robd@infowars.com, or contact me through my Twitter @DewsNews, DEWSNEWZ. So we're going to travel from Munich, probably go through Nuremberg. We're interested in anything in Berlin, Dresden, Leipzig, Nuremberg, Munich, any of those areas. If you have any information on locations of migrant camps, or hotspots where they congregate and cause trouble, because now they're saying most of the crime in Germany is being caused by non-Germans, because that's what happens when you open your home to people who really don't respect your way of life. They basically spit all over you. So I want to encourage everyone to get in touch with us.